Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Onside Kick Show. I'm your host, Zach Stein, with co-host
Gavin, Lemke. Hey, happy hump day once again.
Of course, happy hump day. You know how it is. Every Wednesday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., giving you some good football content. So welcome back to the show. We didn't have a show last week, which is unfortunate because, it was the Super Bowl. But today we got some exciting content for you guys. We're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. We got the Combine coming up, so we'll get into that as well. And we'll do our usual stuff. You guys liked the Immaculate Grid last week, so we're going to do that. Some news headlines to talk about. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our Immaculate Grid here. So if you guys have never seen this before, Immaculate Grid, it's a website. You get a 3x3 grid. You have to put a player that fits the category of both the top and the side when they align. So for instance, we have a Jets, 49ers, got a named player who played for both those teams. There's also only one team coincides with either 49ers, Washington Raiders. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. You got any players off the top of your head, Gav?
Low key, off the top of my head, Jaguars, Raiders. Did Maurice Jones-Drew ever play for the Raiders?
I think he did, didn't he?
Or am I wrong? I feel like he signed.
I
feel like he signed like a 1-year deal.
Yeah,
at the end of his career.
I think he did.
I might try out MJD.
Yeah, let's do that.
How do you spell Maurice? Oh, there we go.
I just went for Jones-Drew, but
there we go. We got a little 38%er.
Okay. Wow, 38% of people are guessing that. That's really interesting. Okay. There's a lot of, let's see, San Fran and Jets. There was a corner who went the last, let's see. Yeah, DJ Reed, is that who I'm thinking of? There was a corner, he's on the Seahawks now, I think. He was a slot guy. DJ Reed, I'm going to try that. That works. 0.8%. Come on.
0.8?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten that in my life.
DJ Reed, amazing slot corner. He's on the Jets now. He's part of like the million like random slot guys that they have.
Yo, good pull.
Good. Appreciate that. I'm going for rarity this one. Last time we kind of just got everyone on the board, although we missed Todd Gurley somehow for
I remember
Falcons,
that.
Rams, yeah.
What about like a low-key guy from the Niners and the Jags, Carlos Hyde?
Oh, yeah.
Did he play for the Jags ever?
He did. Yeah, let's run that.
Yeah, show me Carlos Hyde.
16%.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it. I'm still shocked about the Maurice Jones-Drew, 38%.
Yeah, 38. Everybody was thinking. That's the thing. Sometimes you have to kind of outsmart the public because you're like, oh, no one's going to guess this, and then they do that.
And then they guess it.
Yeah, exactly. Cord out of here. What about these only one team? I'm trying to think. Do you remember Ryan Kerrigan, the Washington pass rusher, the white dude?
Yeah.
He was there for a minute. I don't think he played anywhere else.
He strikes me as the kind of guy to sign like a 1-year veteran minimum with like some random team.
Yeah, maybe.
What about
actually you're right, because I think he actually did play for the Eagles.
Yeah.
You're right.
He did.
You're right.
What about, would it be crazy, and this probably wouldn't even give us a good rarity score, but like Sean Taylor?
Yeah, true.
Like, unfortunately, he only got the chance to play for one team.
True.
Could throw that in there unless you could think of a better Washington Redskins.
I guess actually, wait, this is really easy because all we need to do is to think about a rookie from like a 5th round rookie from 2 years ago.
Oh, true.
Like that.
Sam Howell.
True.
He's a
How many
fifth
people
rounder.
you think are going to guess him, though? That's the thing. Trying to beat the rarity.
Most.
What about
honestly.
a random dude?
Who can you think of from the Raiders? Who can you think of like from the Al Davis days? Like one of those dudes from the 70s that probably played there, like Howie Long or something.
Oh, yeah, you think
Probably
Howie
played for
Long
the
only played
Raiders.
for one team? Well, I can tell you, again, another like random rookie. That Trey Tucker guy was super fast this year.
Yeah.
I don't think people are going to guess him. Could do
Here,
that.
I'll throw that on there.
Trey Tucker, it's TRE. 0.9.
0.9? This guy's on a heater.
We got to get the random rookies, I'm telling you.
This guy's on a heater. Yeah, let's go for the undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
Who you got for San Fran? Only one team.
There's a running back they took in the 3rd round. He has a weird name. I can't remember it.
Yeah, he played a lot this year, didn't he?
I think so. He got some reps. What was his name? They took him way too high. It's like Tyler something. Tyler, he's like a hyphenated name.
Yeah.
Tyler Davis something.
It is.
Davis Price? Is that his last name? Davis Price? David Price? Fisher Price? What is his name?
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, that's him. Right? Or is it Price Davis? What is his? I know his name.
What is this guy's name, dude?
I don't
think
know.
I picked him up in fantasy too at one point and then dropped him.
Yeah, Dynasty League. All right. Well, we're already 5 minutes in, so let's just try and clean out here. There's for Washington. Don't ask me how I know this. I play a lot of Madden, but there's a man named Tuhill. I think he's only played there. I'm wrong. Well, all right, just don't listen to me.
I did throw in Sean Taylor for the Commanders. Only one team got those 6%.
Okay, nice. We should have just gone with
not
that.
crazy. It's not 0.8 or 0.9, but you know, I'm still playing my role.
You ready for this? Tyrion Davis-Price.
Is that the rookie?
I think that's him. He's an option on here.
Throw it on.
0.5. Let's go.
Have you completed the grid yet?
No.
What do you need?
I mean, I missed on Washington because I guessed Casey Tuhill. I couldn't even tell you what position. I just playing Madden, like had some Madden draft class, and I just remember him just being in the class all the time.
Yeah.
He was all right. Jets, Washington. What about this?
Jericho Crotchery.
Yeah. Kochery. But yeah. Can we say that on there? Can we say crotch on there?
I think we're good.
All right. Jericho I mean, I'm pretty sure he played for Washington as well, right? I know he played for the Jets. Give it a try.
I don't trust myself.
I do know.
I think we should give it a try.
Hey, if you want to give it a try, because I have another person afterwards.
This was Raiders and.
You said Washington and Jets. I'm thinking for Washington Jets, Jamison Crowder.
Yeah. Kochery missed. That's on me.
Okay.
That's my
13%.
fault.
Raiders, Jets.
Got to be Kochery, right?
Maybe. What team? He played for one of these. Yeah, I don't know. Raiders, Jets.
Was CJ Mosley ever on the Raiders?
No, he's on the Ravens.
Ravens. Yeah, that's tough. There's probably something that's like jumping off the page and we can't even think
I got 2 more guesses left, so I'll do Sam Howell for this one, 24% for Washington, one team. And then Washington Jaguars.
I got nothing on my mind, bro. For the Jaguars, that's a team that I just never follow.
Yeah, they're
to be honest,
kind of irrelevant. All right, I'm gonna go Vinny Testaverde for Raiders and Jets, and he did not play for the Raiders. All right,
damn.
So that one sucked. I got a Raiders score of 293.
Well, you had some good polls.
That's true.
0.5, 0.8,
Some randos.
0.9.
Tyrion Davis-Price, random third round running back. Wasted a pick on him. Hasn't really played. Well, I don't know. His career's not over yet.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But that's our guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's our guy.
All right. Well, chalk that up as a mediocre Immaculate Grid. Not so immaculate. So let's move on here and talk about some real substance here. Let's go over the Super Bowl just a little bit. I just want like honest thoughts. Like, were you upset with that outcome?
Yeah.
Were you content with that outcome? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't upset just because I saw it coming. I was a little bit disappointed. The Niners had their chances, kind of blew it, with the fumbles on the punt and stuff like that. But I mean, it's Mahomes. You could see it coming. You never bet against Mahomes. Yeah, I think once it went to OT, I was just kind of like, yeah, this is over. Because once the 49ers took the ball, I don't know if you ever saw that video where they did like a slow-mo reaction of Mahomes at the coin toss at midfield. And then right when the Niners took the ball, you could see Mahomes' face be like, really? Like, you guys want to take the ball?
Like, all right. Like,
and then, yeah, going down and scoring a field goal like that, just you knew right away that wasn't going to cut it. You knew the Chiefs were going to go down there and score. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think, like, Chiefs might three-peat.
You know what? I don't necessarily like. I'm not like the biggest Chiefs hater. Like, yeah, they're winning, but like at the same time, it's good to see like, I guess, diversity in the NFL. Is that the right word? Just people, just different teams winning. Like,
yeah.
But it is kind of cool to witness greatness, right? We can say we were alive for this.
Yeah, that's really like the only upside is like, well, I watched and it was Mahomes,
and I had to see Taylor Swift at every like cutaway
the bar me and Zach were at, it was a lot of boos going down whenever they would show Swift. Not really sure why. I don't mind seeing Swift.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, JID, great rapper, tweeted, there's no Taylor Swift slander today on the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That's my guy. I follow that. So,
yeah. I'll rock with that. I've never slandered Taylor Swift a day in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
To be honest. But yeah, I think Mahomes played great. Like, what did he throw for? Like 315 yards, like 330 yards, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Let's pull up the box
A few touchdowns. Mecole Hardman had the game winner. Mecole Hardman told reporters that once he got in the end zone, he blacked out and he didn't even know he scored.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, until Mahomes came up to him. He's like, dude, we just won the Super Bowl. What a feeling that must be.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was sad to see Juwan Jennings robbed of a Super Bowl MVP. I mean, maybe it would have been McCaffrey, but I mean, Juwan Jennings, came out of nowhere. 442-1 in terms of receiving, threw that beautiful screen pass to McCaffrey, went for a touchdown. So you can argue that without Juwan Jennings, there would have been no McCaffrey touchdown. So if the Niners did win, I'm giving that MVP to Juwan Jennings.
Yeah. That would have been my MVP.
Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, he's still my MVP.
Yeah,
even though they lost.
Facts.
I think he had the most unique game of anybody.
He did, man.
It was fun to watch, man.
Him and Nick Foles are the only two players to ever thrown and caught a touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, who else would you expect?
Yeah, right. Yeah, Juwan Jennings and Nick Foles.
Those are two obvious guys, right?
Obviously. If that's a trivia question in the future, we got that. The other thing I will say is that we were talking about this is a big game for Brock Purdy. Like, is he going to perform or not?
Yeah.
I think he did. I don't know. I think, you can argue, he didn't do any, like, crazy, 360, like, laying out and throwing the ball sideways kind of throws. But at the same time, it's like, that's, he didn't throw any picks. Like, he kept his team in the race for the most part until the very last way. And, they lost because they gave Mahomes the ball with the last possession.
Yeah. I mean, people were kind of saying that this was like a make it or break it game for Brock Purdy. They're like, I won't trust him unless he wins this Super Bowl. I mean, he's playing against Mahomes, man, and he's Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
He's only in like his second year in the league. He doesn't need to be winning Super Bowls quite yet. I think Mahomes' reign is going to continue for a while. I think it'd be cool to see him three-peat, but yeah, honestly, I mean, as a Lions fan, I was rooting for the Niners to win just so I could say that we lost to the best team in the league.
Yeah, right.
But, it is what it is. The Chiefs will be the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's true. And, if Mahomes can take a team of scrubs on the offense and win this one, there is something to be said about that. And, I will say I would much rather see Mahomes become the GOAT than Brady because I don't mess with Brady, man. I don't know. I respect him as a player, but anyway, enough Super Bowl talk. That was a couple weeks ago. It was a good game, defensive battle, so it was good to see that for sure. Some awards as well. You think the people who won the awards deserve the awards?
Yeah, I got no problem with it. Flacco, I think that was a pretty obvious one.
Yeah.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud. I thought it was either him or Laporta. Throw Laporta in there?
I mean, you got to talk about Puka as well, though.
I know.
But, yeah, Laporta, I think he was third in voting.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty impressive for a tight end. And we also had Gibbs, who was probably top 6 in that.
Yeah.
But, yeah, MVP, Lamar, I don't really think you can argue with that. The only argument would really be Brock Purdy. But, you look at the statistics, it would have been Brock Purdy. But the things that Lamar Jackson did this year, like, he was easily the most valuable player on his team.
Yeah, agreed.
No question about that. So, yeah, I think everyone who won these awards deserved it. Flacco, who else would it have been besides Flacco?
I will say, I think Flacco totally deserves it, but I was shocked that they gave it to him instead of Hamlin.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I thought the NFL was just going to be like, okay, well, he died and came back to life, which, again, like that, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
But he just didn't really play.
Yeah, I think if he would have played in like 10 games, had like 20 tackles or something, he probably would have gotten it. But yeah, it was just the lack of production from him this year. Only really saw him on special teams. Mm-hmm. Had that fake punt. I think he honestly would have won it if they didn't try the fake punt. Because then that was just kind of like, all right, you guys are trying way too hard. We're going to give it to old Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Comeback player, Joe Flacco, like, was he ever, like, where did he go?
He was just on the couch for 6 weeks. Like, I don't know.
He was always here, in my opinion. Joe Flacco's been elite.
He never left. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What about Kevin Stefanski won Coach of the Year over, like, DeMeco Ryans and some other guys? Like, you think that was the right choice?
I think coach? Dan Campbell should have won it.
Yeah, facts.
Turning that team around in 3 years. Winning 2 playoff games, something that the city's never done. I kind of feel like he was robbed. But Stefanski, with the injuries that he had, with what he was working with, brought Joe Flacco off the couch. Nick Chubb out for the season. Like, yeah, I think he deserved it. Just winning that many games, making the playoffs with pretty much like every starter injured.
Yeah, I would agree. There were actually a lot of good candidates this year, so I wouldn't be surprised if Campbell was like number 2, or if he was even further down the list, just because of how the other, Shane Steichen was the Colts guy. He took them to the playoffs with Minshew. But this is a really good year for coaches. Just gives me flashbacks to Matt Nagy winning Coach of the Year and just thinking that we had something and just being like,
Yeah, I think it just shows that like that award really doesn't mean anything. Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, Mike Vrabel won it, and now he's fired.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. Kevin Stefanski has 2 with his time with the Browns so far.
Yeah,
I think of all the guys, DeMeco Ryans would have been a good argument. Dan Campbell would have been a good argument. But for Stefanski, he had, I think, a record 4 or 5 quarterbacks that he won a game with this year.
Yeah.
And he made it to the playoffs. So even though they kind of got smoked, the fact that roster was even there, I think, is incredible.
You really can't argue with that.
Yeah.
How about, though, good last week to be a Bears fan.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple claims to fame. You got Devin Hester, Julius Peppers, going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame this coming summer. How do you feel about that? Hester's finally in.
Yeah, it took him way too long, but, I'm glad he's in there. He is, especially, we talked last week in the show about, maybe them getting rid of kickoffs. And, like, this is he is the reason why you don't do that.
Yeah.
Because you have some greatness, like, from that
game
guy.
changer.
Yeah, Cordero Patterson's another guy. But, yeah, Devin Hester, like, absolutely amazing. I'm glad that he got in. Julius Peppers also deserved to be in there.
Yeah.
And then also Steve McMichael, he was on the Super Bowl team for the Bears. He's going through a lot of medical problems right now. So I'm glad he got in before it was too late for him to witness. But
I just kind of mentioned the notable guys: Patrick Willis, Andre Johnson, Dwight Freeney, and then they always induct like some dude who played in the '60s. And they're like, we just want to honor you.
Right.
Don't really even know any of those names. But Devin Hester, what do you think? Like, what do you think his career would have been like if he was drafted in 2023?
Dude, I mean, I think that the talent's still there. So I don't know if it would have changed a ton, but based off of the rules that have been implemented, like it used to start at the 20 if you had a touchback. Now it starts at the 25. That was a change, I think, in the last 5 years or so.
Yeah.
There's a different way you approach special teams now because of all the injuries that have happened, like Ricardo Lockett, if you remember him on the Seahawks. Johnny Knox, another Bears player, got folded like the wrong way. Like,
I remember that Johnny Knox moment.
There's been a lot of traumatic injuries on special teams, which is why they're trying to fade it out.
Yeah.
So I think maybe because of the rules, he would have been less productive. But then you look at like Cordero Patterson, and he had really good kickoffs.
Yeah.
Although Hester was more of a punt return guy.
Yeah. I think I would love to see him like in today's NFL, definitely returning punts, returning kicks. Probably not as high of a rate as he used to back in, 06, 07.
Yeah.
But I think that they would use him offensively, kind of like a Deebo Samuel. Like, I think he's just dangerous with the ball in his hands, so you get the ball in his hands, whether it's like pitching it to him behind the line of scrimmage, hitting him on a screen. That's how I think he would be used. I just think he would be so exciting. And I miss watching him play because I'm a Lions fan, but, locally I would get the Bears games and I would turn it on.
Yeah.
Watch Devin Hester return punts. It was electric. It made you want to be like him. But yeah, all-time record holder for kick and punt returns, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think he deserves this as much as anyone else on this list. Julius Peppers, Bear.
Yeah.
Packer.
Yeah, Panther as well. Say it how it is.
Yeah.
He was everywhere.
He was a hooper, too.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I don't think Jared Allen didn't get in, right? I think he was on the ballot.
Oh, was he eligible?
I think so. Yeah, he didn't get in.
Wow.
Another brief Bear, also Panther.
Yeah.
Chief as well, Viking.
But
yeah, I think hopefully he'll get in next year. But yeah, just some of these other guys real quick. I mean, Patrick Willis, one of the better linebackers of all time. Dwight Freeney, never forget the fake spin. He was so cold. He was one of the most unique pass rushers to watch.
he's the reason Hutchinson is what he is.
Yeah, exactly. And Andre Johnson, first Texans Hall of Famer. That's good for Houston. They
That's
get
awesome.
their guy in there. Yeah. So
I love the videos when they knock on their door and then they're like, your name's gonna be remembered forever. You're gonna have a bronze bust down there in Canton, and then the dudes just break down crying. It always makes me cry, man. I watched the video of Calvin Johnson when they came to his house, knocked on his door. They're like, Calvin. They surprised him. They had his whole family on the FaceTime. They're like, your impact on the game is gonna be remembered forever. It's just such an emotional moment.
yeah,
Happy for those guys, man. Especially Devin Hester.
they'll be knocking at your door one day, Gav.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah,
that moment's coming.
Making my impact on the game will last for centuries. I know it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, before we talk about some more news that happened, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Welcome back. First things first, we're just going to address a little article that came out 2 days ago from Mike Florio over at NBC Sports. The question asked, the headline reads, does the NFL have an age discrimination issue? Florio went on to talk about Belichick not getting hired, Pete Carroll not getting a head coaching job. Those guys, Belichick 71, Pete Carroll 72, didn't get any interviews. The average age of the 8 new head coaches, Mike McDonald, Jared Mayo, Brian Callahan, those guys was 44.8. Florio felt the need to mention that if Washington had hired Ben Johnson instead of Dan Quinn, the average would have been 42.8, the average age of new coaches. I don't know, Zach, what do you think? Does the NFL have an age discrimination issue or is this strategic hiring?
That is really, really interesting. Now, my first question is, how old is Mike Florio? Because maybe he feels targeted. Mike Florio is 58. Interesting.
He's sticking up for the AARP guys.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think someone that kind of resets the idea that, reset the age for coaches was Sean McVay. Because when they brought him in, I think he was the youngest head coach. He was like 32 or something like that. And he did a great job.
Yeah.
And then people started hiring more young guys, like Mike McDaniel was really young. Matt LaFleur was really young.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan too.
Yeah, Kyle Shanahan is still relatively young. And so, I think people are starting to trust, if you have I guess not necessarily the years of experience, but the quality of experience. People are starting to trust that more, which I do think is interesting. There is something to be said about Bill Belichick not getting more than one interview. I think that he probably just was going to take a year off anyway, if I had to guess. And then Pete Carroll, I don't think anybody was going to interview him for a coach. He wanted to be the advisor.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is really interesting.
It's interesting to think about, but I mean, another aspect of it is who's hiring these coaches? Aren't they owners? And aren't those owners 80 years old anyway?
Yeah.
You think about Jerry Jones, things like
That's
that.
ancient.
Yeah. Roger Goodell did comment on this. He said, maybe the greatest coach in NFL history isn't coaching this year, but I think what our teams are focused on is the future. How do we continue to bring in the most talented coaches, the most talented general managers, the most talented administrators? Everything about our league continues to increase in its quality and its talent, and our clubs are looking for that in every direction. I don't know. I think he kind of dodged the question a little bit. I don't think that this will ever really become an issue in the NFL until there's a lawsuit that comes out, and then people really dig into it. You saw with the racial discrimination things that came about a few years ago.
Yeah, and they made rules because of that. You have to interview a certain number of minority coaches now.
Yeah, but I think age is just a completely different thing, and I think Belichick coming off, how long was he coaching the Patriots? 22 years, something like that. I don't think he's going to go get a head coaching job right away anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, my thing, he brought up Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick not getting jobs. I don't think either of them really wanted jobs. Belichick took one interview with the Commanders, or with the Falcons, I believe.
Yep.
I mean, to me, it's probably Belichick probably just didn't want the job. I think if Belichick wanted a job, he could get one.
Yeah, I agree. And the fact that he only did one interview, I think, is also really important. I highly doubt that no other teams reached out to him, but I guess we don't know. But I can tell you one thing. Next year, his name is going to be, at the very least, brought up a lot. Yeah. Just kind of like how Sean Payton was. So
I think what he needs to do is him and Saban need to start a podcast or something.
Do.
That would do crazy numbers.
Oh man, what would they even call that? Football grandpa podcast?
I don't know. Football gods.
Yeah, no disrespect. I mean, two goats of their respective
and they work together. They got a lot of history together. I think I don't know about Belichick, but I think Saban, he's planning on going the media route.
Yeah.
Belichick is probably honestly just going to stay home with his wife and relax all day.
Yeah.
I don't really see him doing anything else.
Wasn't one draft, they showed him in the draft room and it was his dog was just on his laptop or something. It looked like he was looking at the board.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they keep like reaching on players. Like 4 rounds down, they take an like Cole Strange O lineman in the first round. It's just the dog like
they got a dog making draft picks.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, no, I would not be shocked at all.
Yeah. In other news, coming out today on the St. Brown Brothers podcast. First off, I love that podcast. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious. Amon-Ra St. Brown has no filter, and he's like one of the most aggressive dudes. He will ask you anything. He just rips on his guests, cusses a lot. Like he's kind of can't say that actually, never mind. But the episode dropped today. They had Justin Fields on there.
Yeah.
Amon-Ra St. Brown, Equinemius. Equinemius is Justin Fields' teammate as of last year. And St. Brown actually asked him, why'd you unfollow the Bears? And I think it's cool to just get the players' perspectives on that. Because Justin Fields kind of explained, he's like, I unfollowed the Bears, but I unfollowed the NFL too. I just don't want to see football on my timeline during the offseason. And then Amon-Ra was like, so you're going to the Falcons or what?
Yeah. That was a really cool episode just because, I mean, whether he's going to be my quarterback or not next year, I love Fields just as a person. Like, his character is outstanding. I think that's why people struggle, or at least the Bears will struggle so much from moving on from him, is because, you know, you could get for a talented person like Caleb, but at the end of the day, you're losing a big locker room presence. But so I love seeing him appear on media and stuff like that. But this is kind of like the first interview I've seen of him do like this offseason, really.
Yeah.
And they asked him a lot of really revealing questions like, do you want to stay in Chicago? And he said, absolutely, I want to stay in Chicago. He did say, you know, at this point, like, I mean, he said word for word, he's like, every day in my timeline, it's either keep Justin or draft Caleb. And like, that's the quarterback of the Bears, and he's hearing all this stuff. I mean, I see so much of it on social media, I can only imagine what he's saying. Because some fans are crazy. They'll at you. And
some fans are crazy, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
I totally respect that from Fields. And yeah, that happens low-key, like, all the time. It'll be like, oh, somebody just unfollowed their team.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, maybe ask the player why instead of jumping to so many conclusions. So yeah, I like that. You know, 3 NFL players were able to sit down and actually discuss that and then release it to the public. And yeah, it was Fields' first time really speaking out on it. So I think it's cool. It's some groundbreaking stuff from the St. Brown brothers.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd really see that.
Right. That's good journalism right there.
Yeah.
They also talked about Jordan versus LeBron. I thought that was really interesting. I think all 3 of those guys are LeBron fans, which...
Of course.
Justin, man, I know you're not from Chicago, but I don't know.
You got to buy into it a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. But it's a big takeaways from that. I mean, he said he wanted to stay in Chicago, but he also said he just wants it to be over with. He wants to know if he's getting traded or he's staying there. So I think, he doesn't know either. I don't think this decision, I saw an article today, and one guy was saying, oh, well, the Bears' decision isn't whether they keep Justin or get Caleb. It's what quarterback are they going to draft. They've already moved on. And I don't know if that is the case.
Yeah.
Because I think you hear Fields talk, and he is kind of just waiting, just like we are, which is good. Because if I'm Ryan Poles, I got a lot to think about, and this is one of the harder decisions that could decide my career. So I do think that's interesting. And you mentioned they asked him about the Falcons. They were like, you know, I was like, oh yeah, Drake London. Like, why do you follow him? Like, you know, is that going to be like your future teammate? Whatever. And he's like, nah, I just like the guy. Like, I don't know, but
you can't have friends in this league. Come on.
Yeah. Another interesting thing that I heard Justin talk about, he said that in the offseason he likes to watch a bunch of film. He talked about a lot of really specific moments from games like with the Lions this year. He's talking about them going for it the 3 times in a row in the Cowboys game, the 2-pointer. He talked about that. He talked about all the Falcons, like, I really like their game. I think they need one more receiver, but I like Drake and Kyle and blah, blah, all these things. And, you know, he says he likes watching a lot of film in the offseason. So I think, again, just going to his character, whatever team he's going to play for next year, you're getting a great guy who wants to work hard. I think that's really important. So I think this podcast appearance was only increasing his stock.
Yeah, and I think it was honestly a good move for him, but I think he should chill in Cabo until April 25th when the NFL draft happens, and then he'll probably find out where he's headed.
Yeah.
Unless he's staying home in Chicago. Most Bears fans I've talked to say that they want to hold on to Fields, probably trade back with the Patriots maybe. Take Marvin Harrison at 3. That would be a good move, and then you still got number 9. So yeah, I think a lot of potential here for the Bears. I don't know. I'd be nervous as a Bears fan. I'd be anxious.
I am anxious, and that is an understatement. So yeah, it's going to be a cool offseason though. We'll see what happens. We released Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair. Nice. They're making cap space to do some moves. Yeah. Hopefully extend Jalen.
Hopefully, or franchise tag him.
Yeah, or franchise tag him. You want to talk about some franchise tag candidates right now?
Well, yeah. I mean, the franchise tag window just opened up February 20th. That's actually yesterday. Players including Jalen Johnson, Antoine Winfield, Saquon Barkley, T. Higgins.
All could get the franchise tag.
They all could get the franchise tag, but they all could get pretty big contracts somewhere else, in my opinion. Maybe not Saquon, but T. Higgins has proven to be a pretty good wide receiver. Antoine Winfield got robbed of a Pro Bowl appearance this year. He's one of the best safeties in the league. And then Jalen Johnson, one of the best corners in the league. I think the Bears, if you're smart, I think you extend him kind of ASAP.
Yeah.
They asked him if he wants to be in Chicago. And what did he say? Wasn't he like, I'm where the money is or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, a similar response to Fields. It was like, it's a business at the end of the day, but I do want to be here. And then Poles said he's not going anywhere. So,
okay. Yeah. That's good to hear for you guys.
Yeah. How many of these guys do you think actually will leave in free agency?
I think Saquon's gone.
Yeah.
I think the New York Giants are kind of a dumpster fire ever since they re-signed, or ever since they extended Daniel Jones. I thought that was kind of stupid. I think T. Higgins might actually get franchise tagged. I think it would be silly to leave Cincinnati right now with the roster that they have, especially with Joe Burrow. But Antoine Winfield, I could kind of see him going somewhere else. I don't know where. Maybe like a Philly or something. Philly's defensive backs kind of looked sorry last year. At least that's what my Philadelphia Eagles friend told me. He told me that they got a sorry secondary.
Yeah.
Jalen Johnson, though, I think he'll stay. I think he likes Chicago.
Yeah, and I think Poles is at the very least going to tag him. If he can't re-sign him, he'll trade him. Because at this point, if he was going to trade him, he would have done it early in the season. He did that with Roquan. And so, yeah, I agree with you on everything except the T and Antoine. I would switch because personally, I think if I'm the Buccaneers, I don't know how you let Antoine Winfield walk. I think there's a lot of guys that you could probably let go. Like Levante David is an older player. He has a big contract. Could probably let him go. I think he is a free agent. And then even someone like Mike Evans, like you could think about re-signing him.
Is he a free agent?
Yeah, he's gonna be a free agent as well. But I mean, they got to make the decision on Baker. So the more I'm talking myself out of this, they might not have the money to pay.
Yeah, that was kind of the decision I was trying to make. Was like, are the Buccaneers in a win now mode? And if you're still trying to contend for a Super Bowl, then yeah, obviously you keep Antoine Winfield, you pay him what he wants. But I don't know. I think they're gonna kind of try to rebuild this thing over there, and I think getting rid of Antoine Winfield, letting him walk would probably be the first step. And then releasing guys like Levante David. You said who did the Bears release?
Eddie Jackson and Cody Whitehair.
Yeah, Lions released Tracy Walker. So, I mean, a lot of like veteran guys just kind of getting cut for cap space. So, yeah, I can see that happening in Tampa. In other news, you see any of the comments that Antonio Pierce made when he was talking about Patrick Mahomes and kind of the dynasty that they're building over there?
Yeah, he was saying, he has a plan for Mahomes, which, I mean, you got to have.
He said, we got to knock the head off the snake.
There you go.
Yeah. You don't want to talk about the head when you're talking about like going for the quarterback. That's how the whole Bounty Gate thing happened.
Yeah.
In New Orleans, they said you got to kill the head first.
See, Myles Garrett took that literally. Yeah. With Mason Rudolph. He took that way too seriously.
Said, yes, coach.
Yes.
Antonio Pierce said, quote unquote, we're in his head mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm touching you. So I showed my guys Jordan getting his ass whooped. I think they're going to try to go Jordan rules, make other guys beat them, which I guess the Chiefs have kind of shown that they could beat guys in the run game. But Pierce said he shows his Raiders players clips from boxing and UFC fights to show them the kind of aggression he wants from his defense. Man. I don't know, man. I mean, Mahomes is the best quarterback. He's the face of the league. It seemed last year like you can't even touch him or he's going to look at the ref like, hey, I just got touched. That's illegal. That's roughing the passer.
Yeah. Well, that's why they said they're going to touch him spiritually and not physically.
Yeah, get in his head.
Yeah. Like
that. I don't know if you can get in his head. I mean, yeah, it's hard to get more physical. Like, if anything, you're going to have to be less physical. I don't know. I don't see Mahomes being stopped. But I'm excited to see kind of the beef, the feud between Max Crosby and Mahomes expand throughout these next few years. If you ever watch the mic'd up of Max Crosby, him and Mahomes, they talk their talk, but at the end of the game, it's all respect. But, yeah, I think that's going to be a great rivalry that's going to develop over the next few years.
When I think of Antonio Pierce and, like, the energy he's brought to the team this last year, like, this to me, this is, like, I feel like this is what Dan Campbell would do if he was from Compton.
Yeah.
Because, like, Antonio Pierce from Compton, he's a longtime a Raiders fan. When they were in Oakland, he was a big fan. He talked about that when they first hired him as interim. And he's like, I'm going to bring the energy. Like, I'm going to set the culture here. I feel like this is going to go over really well. If I had to guess, I mean, they beat Mahomes. They did the same thing that he was just saying. Aiden O'Connell is the only rookie quarterback to ever beat Mahomes because they just ran the ball and they made the Chiefs beat them, which they could not.
And they blitzed the heck out of Mahomes, too, in that game.
They
knocked the head off the snake, I guess you could say. I'm still kind of thinking about this. We're in his head mentally, physically,
emotionally and spiritually. I'm touching you.
I mean, I don't know about that last part, but they're gonna try and demoralize him for sure.
Yeah. I think the whole thing is just like make him uncomfortable, and that's what they did last year, like just blitzing like 7-8 guys on every single snap. But yeah, the boxing, UFC fights, like I don't know, just watch what you say.
True, just some violence in there. Antonio Pierce, come on. No, but I do think, football continues to evolve, right? Game continues to evolve. You got to get outside the box a little bit. That's why I love Stephon Diggs. He was talking about how he runs routes. Or he said, I watch Allen Iverson for my release. Like he copies Allen Iverson's like dribble moves for his release off the line, which I think is really interesting. And that's really creative too, because you're combining obviously a different element from a totally different sport.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to get a little creative. So Antonio Pierce showing them UFC boxing stuff, like that's really interesting. But either way, he's setting a precedent where they are going to be mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually touching every opponent.
Yeah.
It seems like so.
Yeah. And I'm judging, but my head coach at his introductory press conference said, we're going to kick you in the teeth. When you punch us back, we're going to smile at you. We're going to knock you down. We're going to get up. And on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. So I don't know. I think I'm being a little bit biased right now.
Hey, both two guys, really good motivators. I think at first they sound kind of like, whoa, all right, that's a lot. But then you just you trust the process and you let it work. I mean, Max Crosby is willing to go to war for this guy. He said, I'm going to demand a trade if you don't hire Antonio Pierce. So I think, similarly to Dan Campbell, just like give it some time. They could be building something really good there.
They could be. Yeah. And I trust Aiden O'Connell. Actually, one of my neighbors was a football coach at Stevenson High School where Aiden O'Connell went. Aiden was a freshman there. They had him on the varsity team, but they had him like a third string QB, so he wasn't really playing at all. And then my neighbor was the freshman coach. He said, he's like, bring Aiden on down here because he's a freshman. And he said, like, once they brought Aiden O'Connell down to the freshman team, they won every game like 49-6.
Really?
Like he was just airing it out, just killing teams. So yeah, he's from our area, suburbs of Chicago, representing. So that's cool to see. I think that guy actually has some untapped potential.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if they try to find a replacement or they do. I mean, they have Luke Getsy now, and maybe he wants his traditional pocket passer. And it's going to be interesting to see if they keep Josh Jacobs. But yeah, I think it's going to be running focused. You just get Aiden O'Connell, get some quick, easy throws. They may not need to draft another guy, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Draft season coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Daniel Jeremiah is a guy we like on the show a lot. He released a mock draft. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I thought this was really interesting. Williams to the Bears at 1, Drake May to the Commanders at 2. Nothing really crazy right there, nothing that we haven't seen. But you saw 4 QBs go in the top 8 picks, with J.J. McCarthy going to 8.
Yeah.
That's just crazy, going to Atlanta.
Wow.
I've heard a lot of scouts saying that he's got like a 3rd, 4th round grade, and taking him top 8 would be crazy, especially because, 4 QBs in the first round. Penix didn't even go in this mock draft. J.J. McCarthy over Penix. I honestly kind of agree with that, but I don't know if I'm taking him in the top 10 like that.
And you go down the list, and there's some guys that you're getting in the 20s and the 30s who could go in the top 10. So we got about like 9 minutes. Let's run through this. Let's go picks 1 through 10. We'll pick like 2 that stand out. So number 1, no surprise there, Caleb Williams, right? Number 2, your guy, arguably the best player in the draft, Drake May. And then number 3, what do you think about Marvin Harrison getting picked to the Patriots?
Yeah, Marvin Harrison to the Patriots. That's something they need. When was the last time that the Patriots had like a true number 1 like superstar wide receiver? They had Randy Moss for 1 year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even count Edelman as that guy because he's more a slot guy.
They've made it work with all the randos. I mean, Gronk was their guy. They had a weapon.
But
true. In terms of a receiver, you're right. I mean, it's been Amendola and Edelman. Eric Decker was pretty good when he got there, but yeah, it was, not Eric Decker, Wes Welker. I'm just thinking of other white slot dudes.
Lacrosse players.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you can't bring Marvin Harrison Jr. into this offense when you don't know who your quarterback is. Like Mac Jones, in my opinion, is gone. He looked terrible last year. Bailey Zappi, he's got some potential, but he's very similar to Mac Jones, to be honest, in that he takes a lot of risks, throws a lot of interceptions. Mac Jones, some of the throws he made were just so boneheaded. When you watch the replays, you're like, really? You just threw that? So I don't know. I would feel bad for Marvin Harrison Jr. if he ended up going to New England. That would kind of suck. I think Arizona would be a better fit for him. But Arizona, in this mock draft, got their guy, Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, and that's another one. I think this could be a tackle as well. But Malik Neighbors going at 4. I think that's a good pick for the Cardinals. If they don't get Marvin Harrison, they get Malik Neighbors. That is good.
Next best thing.
And then Joe Alt, number 5. I think that's a great pick for the Chargers. They could go Brock Bowers here. But I think the thing that's really interesting is at number 6, you got the Giants going Jaden Daniels. They move on from Daniel Jones.
Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, does Daniel Jones, how much money does he have left to make? Because, you can't just release him, right?
Right. I think you can get out of his contract after next year because he was only a 3-year deal. And I think this was number 1 or 2. I believe this is. But I think they can get out of his contract after next year. But either way, he's getting $40 million.
Yeah.
So maybe they take the guy now and they have him sit, or they just try and trade Jones. I don't think anybody would really take him. Or you know what? Hey, maybe they trade him to the Patriots. And then they take Jaden Daniels here.
True. I think that would actually have to be the move.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. I'm seeing all these mock drafts, and it doesn't show the Bears really trading that pick at all.
No.
Number 1. So you think they're sold on Caleb?
That's what most of the NFL scouts and executives seem to think. And then all the players want them to take Fields. So that's kind of where the divide is. It's really interesting. But we've talked about that so much. I would say let's talk about J.J. McCarthy to the Falcons, because this is another spot that they think that Fields can go. Well, here we skipped a pick. So Jaden Daniels going to the Giants at 6, 7 Tennessee Titans. Olu Fashanu, who's a really talented tackle. But yeah, at 8, Atlanta Falcons. They don't trade down. They don't trade for Fields. They go in and take J.J. McCarthy. Man, I don't know how I feel about this.
That would just be shocking to me.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I like J.J. McCarthy. I think he's got super quick release. He's athletic, just a great arm.
The physical stuff is there.
Yeah, he didn't really show too much in his playing career at Michigan. He was handing it off 40 times a game. So, I don't know. I guess a lot of untapped potential there. We'll see what he does at the combine. Maybe he'll get a Zach Wilson type clip where he rolls out and throws a 70-yard dot against no defense. And then his draft stock will just automatically go all the way up. But
yeah, that's true. One throw can change everything, as we saw with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, it does. It does shock me to see that.
They didn't ask him to do much in Michigan, so that's part of it. So they're just betting on the traits there, as Daniel Jeremiah says. They could trade up, or as they do in this case, stay at 8, and take McCarthy. Number 9, Bears get Roma Dunze. I think if you get Caleb, take the receiver, number 9.
Yeah, this scares me because we talked about this a couple weeks ago, our top 5 overall prospects, and I think we both had Roma Dunze in our top 5s.
Yeah.
I think it's scary if the Bears get 2 of the top 5 players in this draft.
Yeah.
Especially being a quarterback and a wide receiver.
Yeah.
As a Lions fan, I don't want to see that happen, but I think that would be a good move for the Bears.
Tyrese Fuaga at number 10 to the Jets. We talked about him a little bit. He had a great Senior Bowl. He's a really big, powerful guy. Could take really any tackle here. I think the Jets would be stupid to not take a tackle in this draft. That's going to be big. Dallas Turner is going to be the first edge rusher off the board. He's sick, and he's going to go to the Vikings, I guess. Daniil Hunter headed for free agency.
Oh, he's going to be a Detroit Lion, actually. You haven't heard?
Oh, well, actually, I heard he was going to be a Chicago Bear, so we must be misinformed.
Nah, yeah. Mike Evans, Daniil Hunter, they're both, they want to be Lions.
That's crazy, because really, they said that they were coming to Chicago. So
I'm sorry, yeah.
I guess we'll find out. But, Jared Verse, edge rusher, going to Denver Broncos at 12. 13, Raiders do not take quarterback. They roll with our boy Aiden O'Connell. Terrion Arnold, corner from Alabama.
Good move.
Saints, J.C. Latham, tackle from Alabama at 14. Another place that could have a quarterback. Nate Wiggins, 15, corner to the Colts. Byron Murphy, Texas DT to the Seahawks, 16. Quinion Mitchell,
that's our guy, right?
Yes, Toledo corner from Jacksonville. They have him going at 17. I think it would be I thought it was a hot take saying he would go that early, but I guess DJ seems to think this is really where he could go. Yeah,
I want either him or Ennis Rakestraw Jr. to fall to Detroit at 29. Right now, they got the Lions taking an offensive guard at 29, and the only thing they say about him is that he was a state champion wrestler in high school. So, I don't know. It's not too promising for an NFL player. But, I'd rather have a corner like Quinion Mitchell or Ennis Rakestraw Jr. But, as you could tell, their stock is rising.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think of this? Pick 18, Bengals. Again, pass on a tackle, and they go Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers might be the missing piece. If it's not a tackle, I think Brock Bowers, I think he might be honestly the perfect thing that you need because he is a tackle, but he can run routes and catch the ball.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Especially if they let T. Higgins go, they could solve this. They get a guy who, he's not the most amazing blocker, but he can block.
Yeah.
You put him on the end of the line and then have him also, you could be your big X receiver like T. Higgins. I think that'd be really good. As DJ says, it's unlikely Bowers falls this far. I agree. But if he's there, maybe you do take him and hope you get a tackle in free agency.
Yeah. I was surprised to see him at 18. That was pretty shocking.
Yeah. Well, let's see. Who was the shot? If you take JJ at 8, then some stuff is going to get out of order.
Yeah.
19 Rams take a guard, Jackson Powers Johnson from Oregon. He's a really good player. Troy Fautanu from Washington, OT to the Steelers, boost that O-line. Laiti Latu from UCLA may have some medical concerns, but he is going to the Dolphins here to get in the mix with Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, 21.
Yep. Your
boy Ennis Rakestraw from Mizzou going to the Eagles, pick 22.
That's much needed.
Yeah, Houston Texans pick up another weapon at 23. Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU. I think Brian Thomas is so underrated. If it wasn't such a top heavy receiver class, he could be in the top 15. I would say.
Yep.
Cowboys go Tyler Guyton, tackle. Packers Cooper DeJean. DeJean just feels like a Packers player, in the words of DJ.
Ain't that right?
We got a Packers fan shadowing the show. He's shaking his head. Yes, please. And then, sake of time, we'll just run through these again. Adonai Mitchell from Texas, interesting guy going the first, really speedy.
Yeah, that was interesting to me. I didn't think that guy was a first-round grade, but,
Yeah, 26 to the Bucks. Cardinals, 27. They get another pick, Darius Robinson, edge. This is the one I want to talk about, and then we'll talk about the Lions. Buffalo Bills at 28. They take Chop Robinson.
Nice.
From Penn State. I don't know if he is going to go to 28. Production isn't amazing. The physical traits are insane. He is so fast. It could be really good.
I didn't realize AJ Epinessa's contract is up.
Yeah, Iowa legend AJ Epinesa, the Empanada Man, as one of my friends calls him. Detroit Lions 29. Zach Frazier, West Virginia, O-lineman. You know anything about Zach Frazier?
I don't know anything about him. I know he's a state champion wrestler, which is, right. That's great for him. West Virginia, though, I'll trust it. Mm-hmm. I'll trust it. I guess he could play, 3 or 4 different positions on the offensive line, so I'll take it. Build up that offensive line. I think we're losing Jonah Jackson to free agency this year. Frank Ragnow is probably going to retire in the next 2 years. He almost retired this offseason. Taking an offensive lineman is really never a bad move.
Yeah, it just boosts the trenches, Ravens do the same thing here. Marius Mims, Georgia, OT. 31, Niners do the exact same thing as well. Graham Barton, Duke, inside O-lineman. And then the Chiefs get a speedy weapon, Troy Franklin.
That one would actually scare me.
Yeah,
I like Troy Franklin a lot.
Rich get richer.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to check out this mock draft, Daniel Jeremiah posted this to NFL.com. If you're watching on YouTube, I'll put a link in the description. We are going to take a quick break here, and then we have got the player flashback and the trivia for you, so stay tuned. Well, you kind of inspired me with this player flashback because instead of just getting a guy with good stats, guy with good story behind him too.
Nice.
So you brought up in the past we had some Uno champions and D'Angelo Williams.
Oh yeah,
a lot of good stuff. So this one, you may know the story about this guy. He was drafted in the first round to the Pittsburgh Steelers, actually 8th overall. This is Plaxico Burress.
Legend.
Yeah. So really great wide receiver. Pretty underrated, honestly. Super Bowl champion with the Giants when they upset the Patriots. But I want to talk about Plaxico Burress a little bit. We'll get the stats out of the way. So, unfortunately, the man has no Pro Bowls, but he was drafted pick 8 in 2000. Played for Pittsburgh. Didn't do a ton his rookie year. Second year at 1,000 yards. Third year was, I think, his best season. 78 catches, 1,300 yards, 7 touchdowns. After that, trailed off a little bit, 800, 600. Went to the Giants, had a 76, 1,207 season. And then followed it up with 980 and 1,000. You'll also, looking at the stat sheet, notice that his Giants career ended poorly with him missing 2009 and 2010 due to violation of the league personal conduct policy. Well, what if I told you that the reason he was not able to play in the NFL for 2 years was because he shot himself?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be shocked.
You wouldn't be shocked if the NFL, you're supposed to say yes, I would be, that the NFL would suspend a guy for 2 years for shooting himself. No, but yeah, it is a crazy story. So check this out, right? So it's 2008, okay? This is the year after the Giants win the Super Bowl. They start 10-1. Like, they were looking unstoppable. Again, 2008. Plaxico Burress suffered an accidental self-inflicted gunshot wound to his right thigh on November 28th of 2008 at a nightclub in New York when his Glock pistol in his pocket of his jeans began sliding down his leg. Apparently, he reached for his gun, inadvertently pressed the trigger, and shot himself in the thigh.
Bro, I mean, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, you're fresh off a Super Bowl. Why do you have a gun at the club? Like, why do you need that?
Right.
Also, like, gun safety is a real thing, man.
Right.
I hope he learned his lesson at least.
I hope so. I mean, he paid the price for it because the Giants then lost 4 of their next 6 games, including their loss in the playoffs at home. And they did eventually rebound and get the Super Bowl in 2011. But, may have cost them a title because he got hurt. And then he was out of the league. The league suspended him for that. And he did come back in 2011. 34-year-old Plaxico Burress played for the Jets, put together 608 campaign.
That was a solid season, actually.
Yeah, he was kind of a touchdown monster throughout his career.
He was like a good jump ball guy, like a Josh Gordon or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Another guy struggled getting on the field. That's a good player comp. Plaxico
Very
Burress,
similar.
Josh Gordon. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one. Shout out Plaxico.
Almost definitely.
Yeah.
There's some funny like SNL skits and stuff about gun safety and Plaxico Burress.
Yeah, we'll maybe link those in the description of the YouTube as well. All right, well, let's wrap it up with the Q&A here. We got a question from Daniel. It is, do you think Harbaugh will actually be a good coach with the Chargers? What do you think, man?
Dude, yeah. I mean, Harbaugh is the type to like dedicate his entire life to football. Like, I think he's gonna be all in. He's gonna be one of the most like focused head coaches. Scheme wise, I don't really know. I don't know too much. I don't know what he plans to do, what with like Herbert and if Eckler's gonna be there or not. They're kind of rebuilding that O-line as well. I think the defense might carry him. Like, I think they're going to be only allowing like 14 to 17 points a game. So that'll help him out. But I have no reason to believe that he won't be a good coach with the Chargers. Like, I think he's the type of coach who can make that move from the college game to the pro level like that. Like, I think he won't skip a beat.